Hello everybody, this is DM410, and I'm continuing with the video we started off last night. Give me a moment, please. You can put the subtitles on if you want to, you don't have to, and this should be my 45th or 44th video. There half, we're continuing it, and once again, since I didn't say this in my last video, I put it in the description. I am sorry if this offends some people. I'm sorry. Let's continue this.
Of being a Kakuwakumo, first his father tied the hands of the suspected witch. Next he threw the witch in a river and shot him full of arrows.
Since last night I had this as a
Instead he drank river water which contained the blood as the man slowly died, and then decapitated him. The father then ate what he could. This story is recited by his own son with pride, not shame. In their culture, the man's father was defeating a great evil, not committing murder. Number 4, temple sacrifices. When it comes to violent and disturbing rituals, the Mayans are one of history's most infamous cultures. This tribe was especially fearsome because their religious beliefs centered around pleasing the gods through numerous human and animal sacrifices. The Mayans feared that if they did not perform these sacrifices, then the gods would punish them and the world would plunge into chaos.
Bless myself.
To them, slaughtering others was a way to prevent the end of the world. Victims were painted blue, a color which represented sacrifice. Then they were marched up a large temple that was covered with animal and human remains, every step slickened with blood. At the top of the temple, a priest would be waiting for them with a knife carved from stone. One by one, the victims would be held down on a stone slab that was designed to push their chest upwards for easy access. The priest would make a deep incision under the left breast and rip into the wound with his bare hands. The pain must have been unbearable as the priest's hand searched inside the chest and grabbed the heart, which was pulled out while the victim is still alive and screaming. Afterwards, the body was usually thrown down the steps where it would be skinned by the priest's assistants. The priest would wear the skin and perform a ritual dance that symbolized reincarnation. If the sacrifice was a brave warrior or someone else of importance, then the body would be cannibalized so that groups of people could obtain its power. The hands and feet were worn by the priest as a trophy. Other variations included shooting the sacrificial victims with arrows, throwing them down bottomless pits, and burying them alive. Number 3, the Flaming Amazon. The Aztecs were another tribe heavily into gory sacrifices. Rabbits, dogs, insects, flowers, and even inanimate resources such as rubber and paper were all destroyed.
I'll be right back.
Various gods. From becoming too upset. According to the Aztec legend, the gods sacrificed themselves so that mankind could prevail, and now they expected sacrifices in return, lots of sacrifices. In fact, the Aztecs believed that every 52
Hold on.
years the world would end unless enough human sacrifices were made, so there was no time to waste. Like the Mayans, The Aztecs liked to remove the hearts from their victims. Priests used a knife to cut out the heart instead of using their bare hands, which made it slightly less barbaric, but still incredibly painful. One god in particular, however, demanded extra suffering from his victims. In order to appease their god of fire, the Aztecs would set a group of victims ablaze and wait patiently as they slowly screamed and cooked. Before they died, the victims were removed from the fire at the last second and carried up to the temple. At the top of the temple, their hearts were cut out. It was important for the victims to be alive. The entire time, or else the sacrifice would not work. If the Aztecs did not do this, they were certain that their civilization would be burned down by the vengeful fire god. Number 2, Mayan ball games. If the Mayans really didn't like you, they would literally make a game out of your death. The Mayans played a brutal recreation sport to pass the time that was like a mix between basketball and soccer. You were allowed to use your feet, hips, elbows, and any other part of your body besides your hands to knock the ball around a field. Points were scored by knocking the ball through a stone hoop that resembled a basketball net turned sideways. If you figured that the victims were forced to play against the Mayans to the death, that's a good guess, but you're absolutely wrong. The Mayans would never share their sport with a team of lowly sacrifice victims. That would be a disgrace to their culture and a giant waste of time.
Coming.
However,
I'll be right back. Once again, sorry.
Use them as sports equipment to kick to death on the field. Like all sacrifices, the victims were first painted blue, then their arms, legs, and neck were very tightly tied together. They were now a living, breathing human ball. Number 1, child sacrifices. The Aztecs take number 1 for their grisly child murder rituals. The Aztec god of water and rain was a very temperamental deity who constantly threatened to dry up crops and spread disease. Since this god controlled their water supply, this was a very important god, and the Aztecs wanted to please him the most. They reasoned the easiest way to do this would be to offer high-value sacrifices, in this case children, more specifically their tears. The children were sacrificed in a wide variety of ways, usually by removing the heart, but first they were made to cry. Their tears were the purest form of water that the Aztecs had to offer, and children were often forced to cry their tears over a fire before being murdered. These events were so popular that the Aztecs split them into 2 morbid festivals. From February 12th to March 3rd, countless children were marched to sacred mountaintops to have their hearts pulled out. If any of them cried on the way, their tears were seen as a good omen for strong rains. From March 24th to April 12th, hordes of children were marched into dark caves to be sacrificed. Priests would wear the skin of their sacrificed victims for 20 days leading up to the holiday. After the children were sacrificed, the priests would shed their skin wardrobes and leave them to rot in the caves.
Well, that's how things were done back then. Sorry again if this offends anybody. Well, I can't do another video tonight. It's getting too late. I'll try to do one tomorrow. well, please give my video a thumbs up if you don't mind. And if you don't mind, please hit my subscribe button below. Well, I'll try to do 2 videos tomorrow. If not, I'll only do 1. Well, TTYL. Talk to you later. Wait, before I finish that, sorry to offend anybody. I am. Well, TTYL. Talk to you later. Bye.